Hello and welcome to Media Queen TV. We have our beautiful guest Christine Innes with us in the house. We have interviewed Christine before and now we're going next level with what she's up to because she's been doing some phenomenal things lately and taking life next level. And we're chatting today about who inspires you. So a little bit about Christine before we chat with her. Now, she is the founder of the brand new Inspire Awards. She showcases change makers around Australia and the world. And she started out by asking the question, who inspires you and how can we help showcase them and elevate them? Welcome to the show, Christine.
Thank you so much, beautiful, for having me today.
It's great to have you here. I'm continually inspired by how much you do, and in such a short amount of time, you have achieved some remarkable results. When I met you about 5 years ago, you were launching the Corporate Escapist magazine, and now since then, so much has happened. So let's share a little bit about your journey. Since you exited the corporate world, what has happened for you?
Oh my goodness. I actually don't even know who I am. Back in corporate, I don't recognize myself. So I had what I call the not so gracious exit from corporate. So I was actually diagnosed with 2 life-changing illnesses. I left a very toxic, unfixable marriage. I had to file for bankruptcy. And then I spent what I call my next few years having my pity party for myself. So the poor me, the why me, and then realized that I was actually sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I started to change my life. And funny enough, it was stories that changed it. And those stories have actually helped me create the businesses that I have, and also comes back to the Inspire Awards, which is asking the question, who inspires you? Because there's so many people along my journey that has inspired me to help me change, help me create, the life that I have, but also help me, really work out what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. So now I get to help those people and ask the question yourself, like, who does inspire you?
And I must say, you inspire me, Christine, because when we did our media consultation many years ago, and you said you were a grandma, and I was like, "What? You don't even look like a mother yet, let alone a grandma." And you're like the world's youngest grandma. So that blew me away. How much you can achieve on children and grandchildren. So, what are some of your secrets to success in having an amazing life, having a successful business and career, and managing family at the same time?
I think probably the biggest one is I use 2 words, and it's what and if. And I love, there's a movie out there that goes into it. It's a soppy romantic, and it's called Letters to Juliet. And that's just sort of when I came up with the concept with it, because if you use those 2 words, you can either change it into a positive or a negative. It's like, oh well, what if you don't? What if if I don't do this? But what if you do? And this is my biggest thing. It's like, what if I do this? And I mean, we're all going to think about all the worst case scenarios, but then I think about, like, what if all this magic happens? And that's actually what I focus on the most. Now, I will definitely say that I have those moments where I will go down the rabbit hole and you will go in a spiral and, the emotions come out, but also using those emotions as your superpower, and then coming back to focusing on all the amazing what ifs that could actually happen from what you create. And I think that's probably my biggest fueling power. And people say, well, how do you do it all? And I'm like going, well, I want to fit in as much as I possibly can, because we are only here for a short time as well, and this is my legacy. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. I want to leave stories behind and show people what is absolutely possible at any age, that you can do anything at any age.
Absolutely. And we've got the beautiful Denna in the house, and Denna says, we both inspire her. Well, you inspire me, Denna. You're amazing,
She's amazing.
beautiful woman. Yes, Denna is an absolute gem of a human being, and we just hung out together for lunch at the launch of Legacy Business Builders, which just launched today, which is another compilation book I'm in. And I'm in your next compilation book. Would you like to share about that one coming up?
Yeah, so our next book is coming out on the 11th of December, 11th of November. I've got so much happening. So yeah. And this book here I absolutely love, because when you think about, writing stories and, going back to, the start, I guess the biggest question is like, how do you live like an authentic life? How do you be that person that you can show up for? And that's really what we're diving into, and asking all these amazing different questions and hearing from people from all around the world, because authenticity is a word that's thrown out there in the atmosphere right now, but I think we all have our own versions of being authentic, and that's what we're really diving into as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I want to look here for a moment at the word inspire and the meaning of the word inspire. Now, interesting, in the Oxford Dictionary, what it says is that inspire means to fill someone with the urge or ability to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. And then the Merriam-Webster Dictionary says it's to exert an animating, enlivening, or exalting influence. So to spur on, to impel, to motivate. Now, some people say motivation is where you've got to be, sort of almost urged along on the outside, whereas inspiration comes from the inside. And it's like breathing life into, to be inspired. So to tap into this inspiration, it's something that, a lot of people probably say, oh, I don't think I'm very inspiring, or, other people are inspiring, but I'm not inspiring. And so what would you say to people who don't think that they're inspiring?
I think the biggest thing is like the whole misconception that we've got to have some big grand thing happen, or some big bad thing, I guess, in a life, that's we've made a change. But we actually never know who we're inspiring. Like, you could just smile at somebody and you can inspire them to be happy today, or to call somebody, or just by saying thank you, or to pay it forward to somebody. Like, there's actual tiny little things. Like, it doesn't need to be this big huge grand thing that we think that we all need to do. I think sometimes it's the tiny little moments that inspire us. And I think that's also one of the reasons why I love what we're asking, like the question of who inspires you, because we actually never tell those people that they've inspired you, they've made you to who you are. It could be a teacher in first grade, it could be your neighbor, it could be your parents, your brother, sister, like friends, anybody out there. There's so many people out there that are inspiring you every single day, and it could just be a tiny little thing that they do that you don't recognize, that is part of your natural nature as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting, some of the people that we consider the most inspiring sometimes can have the darkest moments. And I actually want to dedicate this show to Kerwin Rae, who just passed away in the last week. And I know Kerwin Rae suffered with depression. I know he had some really big battles, and yet he inspired millions of people around the world with what he did. Yet at times he suffered the darkest depths of darkness, and same with people like Robin Williams, who committed suicide, in his 50s. He was someone who was just filled people with so much joy, right? And was such an inspiration and seemed so happy all the time and so out there, yet had some really low moments. And this is the thing, there's the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. And it's like the yin yang of life. And, having had depression myself too, I've felt those really dark moments, and I get it. And then there's other times I've felt like just on fire, and this is, I guess, the journey of life. And, the older I've got, the more I've realized that people at any time can just drop off just like that. And the older you get, the more you realize, people just die around you, and you just, it reminds you of the fragility of life every time someone passes away. And, I think of the 4 friends I've had who've suicided, and they inspired so many people. And it's just that one dark moment where they just, couldn't continue, or didn't feel that they can continue for whatever reason. And this is the thing, is that we do all inspire people, whether we realize it or not. And sometimes we can be really, really hard on ourselves. And I think it's very important to get conscious to, if you are being hard on yourself, or what can you acknowledge yourself for today? So for those out there now who might be feeling, a bit under pressure, maybe a bit anxious, maybe a bit depressed, maybe going through a bit of a tough time, what words of wisdom can you give those people to keep moving forward?
Look, I've been there. I mean, when my world completely crumbled, I was, I had literally nothing. I was sleeping on my parents' couch, And it really was going back to the basics. Like, I had a roof over my head, I had food, but also too, it was, you know, when you start going through it, like, if you can just get up out of bed that day, like, like for a lot of people, I live with like 2 chronic illnesses, and some days just getting out of bed is a lot. So I have to actually, you know, acknowledge that that was a big thing. Like, okay, great, you got out of bed today. Great, you made your bed. Great, you are able to eat something. So I think sometimes we focus on the big sort of huge milestones, but if we go back to basics and we go, okay, do we have a roof over our head? Are we, you know, do we have food in our fridge? And I know there's a lot of people out there who don't have that, but a lot of the times when we're in those spaces, like, we do have the basic needs as well. So we can, you know, really step back into that gratitude sort of part of it. And it is very hard to sort of come out of the dark place to sort of step into the positive. And I would say to people that also, this is not going to be an overnight thing. Like, there's no light bulb moment that happens. It's a continuous thing that you work on yourself every day. And you need to also be surrounded by people who can see you for who you are and actually accept you for who you are. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that has actually helped me, is the acceptance of people like around me and not having to prove myself to anybody else.
Yeah, I know you're have a great environment of people around you. I think the internet's a bit unstable. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, if we freeze a bit, it's just the internet playing up. Yeah, we could both freeze at any moment. And this is the thing, life throws curveballs sometimes, right? Life throws unexpected twists and turns, and how we're going to be about it. And what I've found is the more I've invested in myself, in my personal development, the more I'm able to handle the curveballs of life in a more empowering way. So how important has that been for you with all the personal development and business coaching, et cetera, that you've done?
Oh, like, amazing. It's actually opened my eyes out to more possibilities as well, and maybe think outside the box. So, I mean, I would never have thought that I would be doing this. You know, I thought you had to, you know, stay in corporate, you know, you stay there, you get a good job, and when you retire, that's when you have fun. Like, that's literally what was preached to me, you know, growing up. So there was no option like that you would be able to go ahead and create a business. There'd be no option that by sharing your story that you're going to be able to create a global empire. Like, there's none of that was sort of, you know, opened. But doing the personal development has not only helped my business, but more so it's helped me actually see multiple opportunities and possibilities. And by actually saying yes to things that scare me, and know that being scared actually is showing you that, oh my god, that could actually be possible. Because when we're scared, it's really your body going, hey, we just want to keep you comfortable, we want to keep you nice and safe, it's okay. But sometimes you can, now I know to go, okay, I know that I feel uncomfortable. Thank you so much for recognizing that within my body, but that's okay. Like, I know that I can do this, but I want to just acknowledge that, you know, my body, my brain, heart, soul is like trying to keep me comfortable because that's what they like. And that's okay. So I would never have had that opportunity to recognize that if I haven't done personal development.
Yeah, so important. And hello to everyone who's joining us live right now. I can see on Instagram we've got Rob Zeljazik has joined us. Paul Ant Knee is here. Francis Ramish, good to see you. MCD Contract in Nogotawa, these funny Instagram names. Skinalicious Skincare, good to see you all there on Instagram. And Dena Hish. Dena's raising her hand for your next book. So that yes, I'm sure you'd be great in the next book there, Dena. And Dena and I have been in some other book projects together. So, yes, I think compilation books are so powerful. This is why I'm in about 20 of them, because, you know, they're fantastic, fantastic for exponential networking and to be able to share your story and leave a legacy with every chapter or book that you do. It's
Yes.
very, very powerful. Now, how many magazines and books have you done now, Christine? Where are you up to?
Oh, so our launch next month is our 5th book, and then we're already in the process of doing number 6 for next year.
Wow.
We have done over 25 issues of the Corporate Escapers magazine,
Wow.
and we've done, I think, 5 issues of Justice Plan Wedding magazine as well.
Oh my gosh. And I know like you do a lot of it yourself. I think you have a very
Yes.
small team, but you've been doing a lot of it yourself. So you
Yeah.
must be doing crazy
Yeah.
hours. So hopefully you're getting a bit of sleep in there, Christine.
I do.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And have time for the children and grandchildren, which
Yeah.
is extraordinary. Amazing. So I
Yeah.
want to ask you, all those joining us live now on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, on the Spotify podcast channels, etc. Let us know who inspires you. This is the topic today. Who inspires you? So Christine, who inspires you?
Oh, goodness. There is so many people that inspire me, but when I first started on my journey, I was watching YouTube videos. I was watching YouTube videos of like Oprah Winfrey. I was then discovered Gabby Bernstein, then Michael Beckwith. Like there's a whole heap of different people that inspired me because it was their stories that captivated me and
Yes.
allowed me then to start thinking, well, if they can do it, well, maybe like, so they like, I guess I acknowledge, you know, them at the start, but you know, my son really inspires me. He shows me, you know, like he saw me as the corporate mum, you know, that's all he sort of knew. And then he is able then now to see mum as the entrepreneur, like, and then, you know, allow me that space to be able to be who I really was destined to be. And I think that, you know, is a true inspiration because a lot of people are so hung on to the version that they've always known, and again you're scared that, you know, feel uncomfortable of watching you sort of fly. But you know, I mean, that takes a lot of courage as well within somebody to sort of accept you for, you know, the person you're evolving into as well.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I think there's so many people that inspire me. You know, my dad is one of the most inspiring people I know.
Mm,
Someone who was brought up in poverty and, you know, was able to leave Turkey and migrate to Australia. His mum couldn't read or write. He had one pair of shoes till he was 12 years of age. You know,
mm,
it's extraordinary. Yet before that, the generation before was actually quite wealthy. You know, the Ukrainian background was quite wealthy. So he went from wealthy background to very poor background when his
mm,
dad ran away from Ukraine to Turkey during when Stalin took over and turned it communist. And then, you know, to grow up through that and then to become a carpenter and then an engineer and then make his way out of Turkey was extraordinary because he had to beat
yeah,
thousands of people to get through uni to become a qualified
yeah,
person to be able to migrate back then in 1970. And I think, gosh, he survived 4 heart attacks, prostate cancer, diabetes. He's 86. He looks after
wow,
mum. He looks after mum who's got dementia. You know, it's just extraordinary. Like I think, you know,
yeah,
sometimes these inspiring people can be very close to home, you know, and sometimes maybe we just don't appreciate sometimes the people that
yes,
are closest to us as to actually how inspiring they've been. And then I think about my mum, I think, well, she's got dementia and she's someone who her whole life has given so much to so many people. And now, you know, we look after her. My dad looks after
yeah,
her and, you know, it
yeah,
all comes back around. But, you know, she also inspires me in so many ways. And my brother, you know, an
mm,
optometrist in Gosford, I think, gosh, the things he's been through. And, you know, there's so many people that inspire me. And as you say, you know, I could be walking down the beach and someone just gives me a little smile and I don't know this person from a bar of soap and it just
yeah,
lifts my day, it lifts my moment and I smile back, you know,
yeah,
and that's the thing is hurt people, healed people, heal people, you know, and just giving a little smile to someone, whether they smile back or not, you know,
yeah,
you can bring that love, bring that joy, no matter what is
yeah,
going on in life, because things can always be worse, right? It's like the yin yang of life. What we focus on grows. And right now, there's a lot of
mm,
crap going on in the world, right? However, there has been for years. And at the same time, there's a lot of amazing stuff going on in the world. So, what are we going to focus on? And what I
yeah,
see with the entrepreneurs out there, the ones that are really successful in life and business, they're the ones that are able to ride the waves of life, to have that resilience, to have that great state of mind, to have that positivity, to
mm,
inspire themselves, because essentially it starts with us. We have to inspire ourselves to be able to get out of bed, to get on with our day. Like, you think of the 60,000 thoughts we have a day, you know, we're constantly, every moment, we're making decisions. And are those decisions, are they going to lift you up, or are they going to bring you down? Are the people in your life, are they lifting you up, or are they bringing you down? You know, and are you allowing people in your life to lift you up or bring you down as well, right?
Yes.
Because we do get
Very
impacted.
much so.
Yeah, whether we're conscious of it or not, we get impacted by those around us. So it's actually getting conscious to, you know, to all of that. So what are some of your sort of strategies? I know you sort of have morning routines, and you're very, you know, you've got some set goals, etc. So how do you stay inspired in your life?
I think the biggest thing for me is the tribe. Like, I have an incredible tribe around me of, you know, men and women who allow me to shine, and I then allow them to shine. Like, you know, there's no jealousy, there's no competition. You know, we're all about collaboration. Let's come in, let's help each other. You know, if you've got an event, what can I do to support you? All those different things. And honestly, I think having that tribe is probably the most essential thing for anybody. That, like you're saying, that if you're around, like, I mean, if you think of a bowl of fruit and you put a piece of rotten fruit in there, it's going to send all the other pieces of fruit rotten. But this is really why I think a tribe is probably the most essential key, and that's in life and business. And I don't think that we focus on it enough. We can have all the amazing strategies, we can have all the amazing mindset, but if you're around the wrong people, that causes the most major damage. So I think my tribe right now is the absolute key for where I want to go, and also who I am right now.
Yeah, 100%. And they say that 95% of your happiness or misery comes from who you choose as a life partner, or who you choose as your partner. Now, I'm single currently, so I have no one to blame for that.
Me too.
Yeah. However, I've had some doozies in the past, let me tell you, and you know, and I've tolerated some crap in previous relationships.
Absolutely.
You know, however, you know, I take 100% responsibility that I chose to stay in those relationships when they really weren't going anywhere, and I just kept having faith that things would improve. And I must say, in many ways, I'm actually much happier single. You know, I have my rescue cat, who I get a lot of love with my rescue cat. I give him cuddles every morning, and you know, and other, you know, birds that I connect with, and people I connect with, and you know, so really choosing carefully who you're having as your significant other, if you are in a relationship, or who your closest friends are even, and getting conscious to, you know, do they have a positive above the line mindset where they're taking responsibility for their life, they're inspiring themselves and others, they're playing a bigger game in life, or are they in victimhood? Are they blaming everyone else for everything? Are they below the line, you know, above the line or below the line? And where are you sitting? And maybe sometimes we go above and below the line several times in a day. However, where are you hanging out mostly? Where are you hanging out mostly in your life? And where are those in your life? Where are they hanging out mostly? And then it comes down to a choice. You know, are you going to choose to either stay that way yourself if you're feeling in a below the line state, or are you going to choose to hang out with those who are also going to have a pity party with you? Or are you going to, you know, raise the bar and take things next level, which is going to be uncomfortable, right? It's going to be uncomfortable to step out of your comfort zone, to do things differently, to go out, put yourself out there, to whether it's going for an award or putting yourself out through a book or a magazine or a show or whatever it is. You know, it takes something. And it takes building resilience. It takes, like we saw with Kerwin Ray. I mean, what an extraordinary man. I was absolutely shocked when I heard he passed away last week. Absolutely. It sent ripples across the whole personal development world for everyone that knew Kerwin Ray. And I know you worked very closely with him. And absolutely tragic, you know. And this is the thing, is it can happen at any moment. Where 1 minute here, next minute you're gone. So how are you going to choose to do life? And you made the very brave choice, Christine, to leave the corporate world, which was very safe and probably very secure in many ways, and you've gone gung-ho doing your own thing. So having that transition, I mean, what has it been like? What's been the main differences you've noticed between the corporate world and having your own business?
Look, I'm actually really grateful for having the corporate role, and Well, I was having this conversation the other day because, I mean, I got sick and I was not able to work. So I didn't have an exit strategy and, have that sort of soft sort of moment of like landing and that. However, when I look back now, I mean, the tools and the skills that I've learned in the corporate world, I've actually been able to apply. And I think that's also why I can do so much. I understand systems and processes. I understand I had a staff, I had teams like that. So I understand that. I've worked in project management. So I know how projects work and timelines and all of that. So I've been able to apply it. And I think a lot of people forget that regardless of whatever job that they've had, even as mums, we have these transferable skills. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned is actually recognizing the transferable skills that I've been able to take and actually apply into my business as well. And also now recognize what lessons, that I actually don't want to bring into my business. Like that, I want people to understand their own values and be able to be aligned with the business values. It's not just about all, the corporate values as such. So there's a lot of different things with it. But I think a lot of people were that the fact that you have so many transferable skills in every aspect of life that you can bring into your business as well.
What sort of work were you doing with corporate before?
Oh, goodness me. I had multiple different roles. I was in corporate for just over 22 years. So I started off like in call center. I started off in pharmacy, then call center worked up into team leader. I did project management. I did learning development, which was training, people as well. So I had multiple roles, and it was also being able to adapt to those roles. And you talked about resilience. When you're able in corporate and you're put into new roles, you have to be really resilient, but also you have to learn to adapt quickly. And I think, it's not just the skills you learn, it's also the personal attributes that you learn within yourself that you can actually apply to it. So there's been multiple different roles that I had and I've been able to put into it. And I think also like being in management, like as a team leader role, I'm very good at delegating. So I'm actually okay with going, that's not my zone of genius, then this is where you are. So if you think of like a big corporate organization, like they have their finance area, they have their sales, they have their marketing, like they'll have all their different areas and that's their zone of genius. And if you can think about what your zone of genius is, and then you outsource and then can delegate out to those people, that actually probably has been a really big sort of key learning as well.
Yeah, and being able to do life your way, right? Not having someone sort of
Yes,
delegate to you how to do life, that you actually
exactly.
choosing. And as Jeff Fields says, hey, Jeff, good to see you. He says, freedom is the answer. Yes,
Yes.
freedom is the answer, Jeff.
Yeah.
Love that. And Dennis
Yeah.
got a question here. What are some of the takeaways from your time doing K2, which is a course with Kerwin Ray? It was one of his
Yeah.
high-end courses, which my brother also did, actually. What was that's a great question, Dana. What were some of the takeaways from your time doing K2?
It actually was the community that was built with it. So I'm actually, even though I was, I left after my year with it, it's actually there's still the connections that I have with everybody as well. So that's probably one of my biggest things, and actually learning that, those relationships, you can, if you build them right, they can really last and nurture forever as well. So that probably was my biggest takeaway from it, and learning that no matter where somebody was in their business, we're all there to learn. So like there were people like in there that were, 10, some $20 million businesses, and here's little old me, and you're like going, well, why are you here? But they all want to learn exactly the same as what I do. So I think, we need to stop also putting people on these pedestals and remembering that we're actually all equal, because if we put somebody on a pedestal like this, we're actually putting ourselves down. We're making somebody actually more significant than what we believe that we are. And so sitting at those tables, knowing that people are earning more than me and everything like that, but they're all here for the same reason, because they want to learn. They actually want to do better for themselves and they want to do better for their business.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, my brother said a similar thing about K2. He said he met some great people through it. And then he went on and did some other work with other people who were in the
Yeah,
K2 program, and he went on and studied with others. And
yeah,
so there's a lot of offshoot things that happen, I think, from the K2 program. Did you have
yeah.
much time with Kerwin in your time during K2?
No, I was only there in a year. I mean, I did nail it to Scarlett beforehand. But yeah, I was only in K2 for the 12 months with it. But yeah, I mean, obviously you got to see him at, you know, the masterminds that we went to and that as well, which was amazing. And, you know,
Mm.
just, yeah, feeling the energy and the passion that he had to help others.
And what else do you remember about Kerwin that you admire or inspires you about Kerwin?
Um, I think the biggest thing for me was the fact that he could actually get really raw and vulnerable.
Mm.
And I actually believe that that's everybody's superpower in business as well. And, you know, sharing, you know, for how he started out in business to, you know, where he was and, you know, taking people on that journey and just going, hey, it's not an overnight success, you know, like it does take a long time. But he had a way of really deeply connecting. So even though there was hundreds of people in the room, he could deeply connect to you on a very personal level, even though he's talking to hundreds of us. But I don't know,
Mm.
there was this sense of, you know, he's, you know, honing in on you as well.
Yeah, I felt that. I saw him last November, I believe it was, in on the Gold Coast. There were about 700 people in the room, and I remember being really moved by him. And he was sharing very vulnerably about how he had a stroke and how he went through this
Mm,
big period of depression through COVID, and and it was really really moving. I was very
yeah,
inspired by him,
yeah,
and the energy in the room as well, with the people that had obviously been in his community for a long time. I thought,
yes.
what an extraordinary man! He's inspired so many millions. And here he is. He passes away. I believe he was 49 years of age. He just passed away in the last week,
Mm,
and very, very sad. However, look at the legacy he left. Look at how many millions of people he inspired in those
yes.
49 years. And I'm so grateful to have met him and to have experienced that
Mm,
inspiration from him on the big stage. And I love what you say
yes.
too about, you know, people put others on pedestals, because Dr. John Demartini talks about this a lot in his Demartini method.
Mm,
He talks about when we put others on a pedestal, we're diminishing ourselves. And there's a lot of
yes.
people, there's a lot of mentors that I've worked with that I don't really admire like I used to admire them before. And some of these mentors,
Mm,
they put out that, oh, if you're not making more money than me, then who are you to, tell me
yeah.
anything? Like, who am I to listen to anything you have to say if you're not making more money than me? And I really disagree with that, because money is just one part of the wheel of life, right? And if
Yeah.
someone's achieving financially, how are they doing in the personal life? They're how are they doing with all the other areas, with travel, with adventure, with
Mm,
contribution, with you've really got to look at the
yeah.
overall wheel of life. And yeah, it's really interesting. The people that I have admired in the past, some of the mentors I've had that I have really admired, some of them
Mm,
just it just hasn't been what I've thought at the end of the day. I've and look, no one's
yes.
perfect. No one's perfect, but
Yeah.
I think,
No.
I think you've got to be selective who you work with. And because what I've noticed too with some of these mentors, the people that follow some of these mentors, they end up being just like the mentors. And what can happen sometimes is that they're so driven and focused on the money that they
Yep.
forget about the heart factor. And
Yes.
it's almost like two totally different things. Like, I actually had one mentor say to me, "Oh, no one cares about the animals, Aldwyn. They just want to make money, right?" And I'm like, "Well, how can anyone not care about animals?" I
Mm,
didn't quite get it. How can anyone not care about,
yeah.
contributing to the environment? I didn't quite get it, But he was like, "Well, in
Yeah.
business, what they care about is leads and sales, and and that was
Yeah.
his experience. That was his experience of life and business. So that's the thing. Everyone's got their own opinion of what they think, how things should be, right? And so at the end
Yeah.
of the day, it's coming back to your authenticity. What is it that's true for you? So for you, Christine, what is it? What is it that you do? What sort of practices help you tap into your authenticity, to your truth?
The biggest one is actually my values. Because I heard a saying a while ago is that if you don't stand for anything, you're going to fall for everything. And it
Mm,
really hit home because, I was the corporate woman. Like, I lived and breathed it. I would be in the office at 7 a.m. in the morning, and I would be, there and working from home. And, I lived and breathed their values. Whereas I didn't even know my own values, and that was probably the biggest thing. And one thing I've realized is your values change in your life, and that is okay. So you don't need to even have the same values as what you started off at the beginning of the year, because these moments happen. Like, we experience different things, people come into our life, and or there's you could get sick. Like, any of these different types of things can happen. So I think when you know your values and you can be really aligned to that, that actually helps you really shine in your own authentic way. And values for me are probably the biggest thing. Like, I've had so many big shifts, like, in values. And like, money, actually, it's an interesting subject. Like, money never used to be one of my big values. But now I put money in a value, but in a way going, well, the more I earn, the more people I can serve. There's more I can do good in this world. There's more that I can create an impact. That means I can do more free things. I can go and speak for free. I can donate to all these charities. Like, there's so much more that I can do with it. So me devaluing money actually was devaluing the worth that I could put out into the world as well. So having that big shift over the last couple of months as well, and understanding, like, money is not a bad thing. It's changing my whole concept around it. But now knowing that, no, you know what, I do value money. I do value that, so that I can actually help create legacies for other people. I can help create and motivate other people, inspire other people. I can, do the Inspire Awards. Like, there's so many different things that you can do with the monetary values as well.
Yeah, that's true. And I know I've had stuff around money for a long time, because, there's certain people in the world, like the elites, there's some very high up people that are very, very dark and very evil. And however, there's also people who are very wealthy that do a lot of great things for the world as well. So again, it's like the yin yang of life, right? So it is what you choose to focus on. And yeah, absolutely. The more money you have, the more you can contribute, the more you can help others, the more you can have choices in your own life, so that when you travel, you're not staying in backpackers, you're staying in nice hotels. Like that quality of life.
Absolutely. Yes.
That quality of life is great.
Yeah.
And I think money also shows how much you've been of service to people as well.
Definitely.
It's an exchange of energy, and it shows how much you've been contributing. Lata is with us. Hello, Lata. Good to see you there, Lata, on LinkedIn. 2 great women of substance. Oh, that's lovely, Lata. Well, you're a woman of
love
substance
that
yourself. Thank you so much, Lata, for sharing with us. And we've got Jeff Zeffirino and Mark Ainsworth Official have joined us on Instagram. Hey, guys, nice to see you. Who inspires you? Please let us know, those joining us live right now. Who's someone who inspires you in your life? Who's someone inspires you, and why do they inspire you? Now, Oprah inspires me too. You mentioned Oprah. I think Oprah's absolutely amazing. And look, some people say she's gone to the dark side. I'm not quite sure. But whether she's gone to the dark side or not, she's put out a lot of inspiring content in her time. And her Super Soul Sunday sessions were amazing. Some of the people she interviewed, phenomenal lady. And, amazing. I mean, even people like Madonna's inspiring for me, from where she came from to where she is now, and how many times she's reinvented herself. Okay, she's used sex to sell. She's played the game, and so has people like Kylie Minogue. She got the hot pants out, was spinning around, and suddenly she was an overnight success. So they've played the game of using sex to sell, but they've also had a certain amount of talent, and you've got to admire how far they've come, and having a great team of people around them to help get them out there as well. So they're just a few of the bigger names that that I admire. Robin Williams.
Drew Barrymore's one for me at the moment.
Oh, she's great. I love her show.
And I look at, she's multi-passionate. Like, she's got the show, she's got a magazine, she has an amazing makeup line as well, actually, because I love it so much. I'm actually wearing her lipstick right now. And there's and for her also, like, she's using her vulnerability, she's using her stories and showing people of how much she has transformed her life as well, talking about her drug and alcohol addictions. Like, and I think these are the things, like, these people are inspiring us because they're actually being really raw and vulnerable, and they're actually sharing their own experience to show them that, hey, I went through this. Like, my life has not all been, absolutely bed of roses with it. And I think it's those conversations that these amazing people are having right now.
Yeah, and I take my hat off to anyone who shares vulnerably from the heart, because it does take guts, because you've got to be able to get over the thing of, oh, what will people think of me? Or how am I going to come across? Or blah, 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 right? Those 60,000 thoughts we have a day, 98% are the same as we had yesterday, and 80% of thoughts are negative for most people, right? So it's actually being able to control those 60,000 thoughts we have a day to go from the head to the heart and to share our truth. And this seems to be one of the most challenging things for people out there. However, I know, as you mentioned, whenever someone does share from the heart, you connect. You connect heart to heart. And that's something that the AI bots will never have, is a heart, right? They'll never be able to connect heart to heart. They might sound like they do, right? And, people having relationships with bots now and all sorts of things. I mean, each to their own. But, they're never going to have the heart that human beings have. And that's what we're really greatly wanting now. I think we want that connection. And that's what we're being drawn to in social media, in marketing, in people that we get to like, know and trust through business. We want to be hearing from you what matters to you. What matters to you? What inspires you? What moves you?
Yes,
What is it
definitely.
for you? And I love that you're doing the Inspire Awards. I think that is so cool. So where did this idea come from for Inspire Awards? And tell us a bit about that.
So the inkling sort of was last year. I was asking, a few of my friends the question, and asked them to do a video of who inspires them. And I was going to do an awards last year, but the self-doubt came in. Going, oh, there's no way I can do it. I'll put it on the back burner. And then, interestingly enough, I'm working with two amazing coaches this year. I can't even talk properly. And, they said, do you want a challenge? And I'm like, I'm always up for a challenge. And they said, you need to do an awards. Now, they didn't know that was, already an inkling and with it. But I thought, you know what, there's no better time than now. And again, it's the what if, like, I can sit in like all the dark and doom. And I've even had conversations like in the last couple of months going, oh my God, what am I doing? How can I do this? So, all this sort of stuff. But then it's almost like I can see the night, I can see the stories getting told afterwards. I can see the ripple effect that it's going to be having, not only just here in Australia, but around the world, and actually sharing, their why. Like, what is your reason that you do what you do? Like, what is that passion that inspires you to have either created your business or created the movement that you've done? And that's what we want to share, and remove, first of all, it's not about, like you're saying, how much money you make. We're actually talking about the passion. Like, we want to see it, we want to feel it, and that's how we get it through with the questions in the application. But also too, we also have not set like a gender. So there's a lot of awards out there, like women in business, like men in business, and all that sort of stuff. Like, we're wanting people to realize that, you're equal, like, as human beings. This is literally what we're talking about, is human beings creating a change within them, and they're the change makers. They're not change women or change men, they're change makers, because I think we're all completely equal in it, and we've all got an ability to inspire change.
It's interesting you say that, because just today I launched a brand new event, which is coming up on the Gold Coast next Saturday. And the ticket options that I put on that, I changed the name of the ticket options in Humanitics and Eventbrite to Changemaker and to Changemaker VIP. So isn't that interesting that you just say Changemaker? And I think that is so cool, because that's what we do when we step up, is we make change happen, and if there's something that you see out there that you're not happy about, then step up and speak up about it. So right now, you've probably seen on my socials, I have been on the crusade of helping to save the environment and animals, and to help stop the toxic fire ant program. And I've been
Yeah.
telling everyone about it. I was just at a big event at a $10 million house, and I was talking to all these people, and I said, you know what, if I was looking to buy this $10 million house and it had fire ant poison put all over it, I wouldn't want to buy this house. And so I'm educating people now, because this poison they're sending to people's homes, and that they're spraying everywhere from helicopters in Australia at the moment. The Australian government Poisoning Australia program has been killing dogs, cats, horses, cows, birds, and they're saying it's safe. And people are going, well, hang on a second. They said that the jab was safe as well. Well, we know that wasn't the case, so people are now starting to question things, right? And so, don't necessarily believe everything you hear, particularly if it's coming from government. And that's the thing, is that when you feel moved by something, when you know something is off, when something is not quite right, and you don't speak up about it, you are being part of the problem. I truly believe that. And so what is it that moves you? For those joining us, what is it that moves you? What is it that inspires you into action, whether it's that you become sad or angry about it or whatever? What is it that moves you? And what can you help shift, and what can you do about it? Even if it's just doing some little thing like sharing a post online about it or letting someone know about it. You don't have to do massive things in that area. I started animal action events 18 years ago because I was sick of seeing animal cruelty. So we've now 18 annual events raising awareness, appreciation, respect for animals. I went out and I did something about it. Now there's been a massive job every year that I've done that, but I've kept true to what I initially planned with that event to be an annual event. I wanted this to be a worldwide annual event, and every year inspiring people to take action for animals. And so I understand fully what it takes to be inspired and to be inspired into action. And so for those joining us, what is it that inspires you into action, whether it's coming from that you've been upset or angry about something, which sometimes needs to happen to actually spark change, to spark the change maker? Because I would say all change makers out there at some point have been not happy with the way things are being done in some area, whether it be child sexual abuse or slavery or whatever it is. It's different for everyone, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it is, you've seen something that you don't like, there's been some injustice out there, and you said, right, I'm gonna do something about this, even if it's the smallest thing. So for you, Christine, what is it that sort of angered you or saddened you, or that you've seen out there that you've really wanted to shift?
I guess the biggest thing, it all comes down to the stories, because I think a lot of people, we all have stories. We all have something inside of ourselves that we're filled with such guilt and shame. And my biggest thing is showing people how to own it, and how to own it and actually forgive yourself. Because if we think about, things that have happened in our past, it's in the past, because we were not the same person that we are today, because we didn't have the knowledge, we didn't have the information probably back then to make that informed decision, or we didn't have the confidence within ourselves, or like whatever it was. So it's about us now actually saying, okay, well, I'm owning absolutely everything, like the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between with it. But also from that, we also then have to allow the forgiveness. We are so easy to forgive other people, but when it comes to forgiving ourselves, that's one of the hardest things. And for you then to be able to share your story, and you're talking about that heart connection, first of all, you have to forgive yourself. You have to own the stories and forgive it. But then you can, when you've gone through that, you then have the ability to set really clear boundaries of what you're sharing, how you can share it, how you can connect on such a real deep personal level to actually show people of what's possible, parts of your story, parts of yourself as well. But it all comes back to owning the story, and it also comes back for you forgiving yourself, because that is the game changer. And that was the hardest part in my whole complete journey of doing that. And even today, I still practice forgiveness every single week.
And guilt and shame, now they're two of the very lowest vibrations that we can have. 20 hertz and 30 hertz is where we're vibrating at. When you look at Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness, or the book Power versus Force, 20 hertz and 30 hertz. Whereas when we get into love, gratitude, peace, and enlightenment, we're vibrating at 520 hertz plus. So that's a massive difference between 20 and 30 hertz, because we're 99.99999% energy, frequency, vibration, right? So we get into different emotions, we're vibrating different frequencies. This is where we either connect with people or we don't connect with people, because we're either on the same energetic vibration or we're not. And that doesn't make us better or worse than anyone else. It just means that we're all on our different journeys, right? And so, you know, we tend to gravitate towards people who are on our same vibrational match, you know, who have the same kind of frequency that we have. And this is where, you know, usually people who are inspired inspire others, and you know, and then they inspire others again, and then it becomes this beautiful ripple effect of people lifting each other up. Like they say, when the tide rises, all ships rise with the tide. So the Inspire Awards, I love that. So what are some of the categories you've got within the Inspire Awards?
We have community champion, and you know, when we look at people out there, you know, like people like yourself that are going out there, they're creating these events, they are championing different causes, you know, they are volunteers, you know, we've got an election tomorrow, like they look at all the volunteers that are out there, like there's a whole heap of different, you know, aspects that we can look at it. And then we did do one which is our youth leaders, and I think it's really important to recognize these incredible individuals that, you know, they're under 25, and you know, I mean, goodness, I wish I was like that passionate back when I was, you know, that young, and you know, been able to explore and help other people. We've got influential business leader, you know, we've got educational excellence, so we've got 8 amazing categories, and it's all about highlighting, you know, those people, those individuals. It could be a business, and that's why we haven't limited to say, oh, it's, you know, influential, you know, individual, influential, you know, they're all the different categories, so they can cover a business, they can cover an individual, they can, you know, cover like a community organization, all those different things. So I think it's time that we actually start recognize them and go back to the why. Like, why are they doing it? Like, what was the starting point of it? Because we all start from somewhere. And we want to know what it was with it. And I think also too, for people coming into the awards, it's actually a nice reminder to go back to the why. Go back to why did you start it? And then to sort of reflect on how much you've actually achieved, because I don't think we ever do that as well. We don't, you know, take that moment to reflect back on it. But yeah, 8 incredible categories that you can go ahead, you go through and you nominate. And then, or you can nominate yourself, or you can nominate somebody else. And once we receive that nomination, then we send out their application and invite them to actually formally apply to be considered for the awards.
Okay, wonderful. That sounds great. So nominate yourself. And when does that close off?
It's closing off on the 31st of October. So there's still heaps of time with it. Okay. It's going to take you 10 minutes to do an application. With it, we've kept the, questions like super simple and easy for you, because as I said, like we want to feel that high energy from you as well.
Beautiful. All right. And what's the link for people to go to for that?
So if they go over to thecorporateescapers.com and it's / the Inspire Awards. So the hyphen Inspire Awards. I always forget the hyphen in between there. But yeah, they can go in and have a look at that. And then also in addition to that, that will also have all the relevant links. So if you're nominating yourself, there's a link where you can go straight to the application process as well.
Okay, wonderful. Awesome. So go along to that link and put your name down for the very first Inspire Awards. Very exciting. You can be making history with this awards. And where is the actual ceremony going to be this year, and when will that be?
So it's on the 6th of December, and we're having it at the Robina Community Centre in the auditorium. So we've got an incredible night planned. We've got dancers, we've got entertainment, we've got red carpet interviews, we've got an incredible MC, we've got a 3-course menu for the night. So like it's going to be amazing. Plus the prizes for the winners. We so far already have over $20,000 worth of prizes for combined for all of the categories as well.
Wow, that's amazing. Gosh, fantastic. So it's worth entering just to see if you can win a prize.
Absolutely. Because you never know. Like, and this is the whole thing. Like, I mean, go ahead, you apply, and then all of a sudden you're up on stage receiving an award. I mean, incredible.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna get an incredible prize. I mean, it's just epic.
It's so good, so good. And I've won many awards, I must say. In fact, I just got back from Singapore. I won the Global Woman of Influence Award. Here it is here, actually. I just came back with this little award from Global
Yes.
Woman of Influence Award, which is pretty impressive. So I thought, yeah, that's worth going to Singapore for.
Yes.
It's a fantastic acknowledgement of the work that you do. And the Heart of Woman Award I won earlier this year, and different and actually every time that I've won an award, other people have nominated me for it. So if you just sort of actively go out there and actually nominate yourself, it's amazing how much opportunity there is to put yourself out with awards, and and enjoy the limelight, because you don't have to be the best at whatever you're doing, but go out there and give it a good shot and put yourself forward. You've got to be in it to win it. So why not put yourself out there, and who knows, because every time I win an award, I think this is fantastic for the cause. For me, it's around inspiring good news, helping to reduce depression, suicide rates, and inspiring more kindness for animals and the environment as well, right? So that's what I stand for. Every time I win an award, it raises more awareness for that. So whatever it is for you, it's going to help spotlight you and your causes, right? It's not about ego. It's about how you're making a difference. And the more you get out there, the more you're making a difference in those areas, which is just absolutely wonderful. And oh my gosh, there must be so much work putting all of this together, Christine. I don't know how little. Oh my gosh. And I'm here. I know a few years ago you were in your mid-40s, and I'm thinking, okay, you must be now in your probably your later 40s.
Later 40s, yep. So I'll be hitting the big 50 in a couple of years. So yeah.
Wow. Amazing. And a grandma and a mum, my gosh, and extraordinary. And you obviously started when you were about 16 or something. You're very young.
I'm not that young, but yes.
That's amazing. Amazing. So great you got it done early. You got the kids out of the way early.
Oh, awesome. I know. Now I get to enjoy the 2 grandbabies, and it's fantastic. So I love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And moving forward, what are some of your next goals coming up? So after the Inspire Awards, have you got you've got another book project now? So is there room in your next book for some more people to come on board, or is that now full for your next book?
No, we're halfway through already, and haven't even officially announced it. So the next book is called A Grateful Life. So we're really sharing about, what are the moments that have come into your life that's made you really grateful. And it could be, a personal journey. It could be, about the business. I mean, most of our books really capture both life and business as well, because I think you can't have a successful business without life things happening, and vice versa. So it's A Grateful Life, and we're aiming to get that book out in August next year as well, but there is definitely still spots available in that one.
Okay. And then you've got another one before that, right?
So we've got our launch next month. So that's closed off, but it'll just be the next one, which is The Grateful Life next year.
For and this one in the month, what's that one called? The one in the
this
month?
One's called An Authentic Life. I have to keep remembering which
one
it is.
An Authentic Life. Yeah, awesome.
So
Love it.
So that one's number 5, which is amazing. So and then The Grateful Life will be number 6. So I'm really excited about that one. I think I get excited with every single book that we do, but gratitude's played such a big part of my life, and I know that it has with so many different people as well. And I think if we can share those particular moments as well, that makes it really special.
Absolutely. And it's at the heart of my Global Good News Challenge, actually, that I do, is we share gratitude and good news every month. And it's so powerful when you get into gratitude. It's something I actually practice every morning with my team. Every morning we check in and we say, good morning, today I'm grateful for. Grateful for something, I usually say something bigger. I'm grateful for the sun, something smaller, grateful for my house, and something about myself, grateful for my resilience as an example. So just that simple practice, like that literally took me, 10 seconds. It's such a simple thing, yet it immediately shifts your energy. So I invite you, those joining us right now, whether you're watching live or the replay, what are you grateful for today? What's thing you're grateful for today. And
Yeah.
we've got Glee Girlos says, darn, it's been freezing. Okay, so is that something you're grateful for, Glee? Actually, with a name like Glee, it sounds like you'd be grateful all the time. But darn, it's been freezing. Now, some people love the cold, right?
Yeah.
And some people don't. So that's really interesting. So I'm actually not sure right now if you're actually grateful for that, Glee, or whether you're not happy about that. But just notice, right? Just notice, are you whinging about something right now, or are you happy?
Yeah.
Like when it rains, like people go, oh, it's bloody raining. I think, well, fantastic. The trees are getting, they're getting water. All the birds get washed, the animals get a nice clean. Like it's a refreshing, rejuvenating thing for the planet whenever we have rain, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about perspective of how you look at things. The Traveling Red has joined us. Jeff Seferino there. Good to see you guys, right?
Yeah.
What are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for today?
Yeah.
So you've got a book coming up. You've got the awards, which is taking up a fair bit of your time. And what else is on the horizon? Anything else exciting?
Well, we've just done a soft launch for a brand new service. So obviously we've done the co-author books as well, and really grateful actually that I have an amazing client that's trusting me to help bring her own book to life as well. So that is something brand new that we're doing. And, these are for, entrepreneurs or just people who want to make an impact and really go heart to heart and bringing their own book to life. So we are doing a big launch actually next year where we will create the whole package for them and help them bring their own book to life and help them on their journey as well. And I mean, this is one thing that I'm so grateful. I've been able to connect with so many people to be able to help me bring these co-author books. So now I actually help other people, bring their own book to life as well.
Yeah, that is brilliant. Now, I do know with ChatGPT, etc., so much AI now, people are just pumping out books with AI. However, I know that now, like Amazon, etc., certain places are cracking down on the AI books. So what are your thoughts around people using AI to do books nowadays?
Look, I think you can use AI, and I do use it. So I use AI as a way of helping me with it, but there is also still things that you need to change. There are still times for you to go back and you have to use it in your words. There's a really great way I've been able to, prime ChatGPT to be able to recognize, I just literally now just put stuff in and it spits out pretty much how I talk because I use it quite a fair bit. But there's no copy and pasting. You still have to go in and make tweaks. You still have to, I will get writer's block and I'm like going, oh, can you just help me with this? Like, give me some suggestions. Fabulous, great. But it's not a copy and paste situation. You need to make it yourself still and go through it and would I really say that and not actually be influenced by what's coming out of ChatGPT. Still, I guess going back to that authentic self, like how are you authentically, how would you say that? How would you, write that as well? But I think there is some amazing things that you can definitely do with ChatGPT. And I definitely do use it in my business as well. And I think it's also too, like, that's also how I get, a lot of things done. And I get writer's block. So I'll sit there and I'm going, I don't know what to write today. Can you give me some suggestions? This is how I'm feeling, but I'm not saying, can you do this for me? But yeah, it helps you with marketing plans. It can help you. One thing I love, I love reading books, but there's some books I know I have to read it, but I just can't get into it. I'm like, can you give me the top summaries of it? Like, thank you so much. This is the key aspects that I needed. So, there's a lot of good things for it. And I guess it's just the intention that you set around how you're going to use it.
Yeah, I think that's important. And because a lot of these platforms now are really picking up on the ChatGPT content, they're actually not publishing, right? Certain books, right? With some of these platforms now, they're really, their bots are able to pick up, the bots that you've used. So you really have to watch that very carefully and as much as possible, make it your own, right? Make it your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think ChatGPT is great too in many ways. I mean, we use it for different parts of our business, but I always change it because it never comes out sounding exactly like me. It gives me some good ideas, and then I just tweak it and make it my own.
Exactly. Or I can sit there and just, I'm like, oh, I've got to draft this email. And I'll write down what I think. I'm like, can you just help polish it just that little bit? Like, it just give me some suggestions of how I can soften it, or, like all those different things. Yeah, and it just gives you the great suggestions. But you can't, I would not recommend copy and paste. So
Yes.
you need to make it your own. Be authentic and make it your own.
Yes, absolutely. Now, our advertising boss, hello, advertising boss on Instagram says, hello there, advertising boss.
Hello.
Now, we are asking you here, who inspires you and what are you grateful for today? Let us know in the comments who inspires you and what are you grateful for today. Now, any final words around tips on how people can stay inspired in their lives?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think if you go back to your why, that's probably going to be the easiest way for it. So if you've started a business, for example, and you are losing motivation, and this, I can tell you, happens to everyone because it still happens to me. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm not motivated today. But if you remember your why, like, why'd you start the business? And go back to that very moment, that will actually inspire you. And that could even be like, why did you just sign up to do a marathon? Like, what was the reason why? There's so many different things that you can use it. But yeah, that's the one question I always ask people, and that will help you regain that inspiration.
Yeah, I love that. That's really cool. Awesome. Well, this has been a fantastic show. I really enjoyed this. Who inspires you? Any final words or things you'd like to share, Christine, before we start to wrap up?
Oh, I just want to say thank you so much, Aldwyn. Like, every time I ask you, can we do an interview? Is there something that, like, you are somebody who just says yes. And I actually think that inspires me to continue to say yes to multiple things as well. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. It's been absolutely fantastic having you on the show. I always love connecting with you, and you inspire me continually, Christine. You're amazing, and I love your work. And thank you so much for the ripple effect of what you bring to the world, because, that's the thing with everything we do. We don't realize how we're impacting people, but, you've impacted so many people in just a few short years being out on your own in business from the corporate world, and you're absolutely gung-ho. I really don't know how you do it all, but you somehow manage to bring it all together, and you do an amazing job. So well done. Congratulations. So remember, guys, to apply for the Inspire Awards, to either nominate yourself or nominate someone else. And I'll put that link back up here again. Now, do you have any favorite quotes or mottos that you live by that you'd like to share? Here's this link again for you while you're thinking of something there to share. The Corporate Escapists with an S.com/the-inspire-awards. Go there and you can nominate yourself or someone else for those awards. And you've got about 1 week before they close off. All right.
Yeah.
1 week.
Yeah. My favorite quote is one that I've created, and it's dreams plus action equal reality. So I want people to dream big. I would like the wildest possible dreams. But to become a reality is that you need to take the action, and you need to take the action, not anybody else. It's you. So if you can do the dreams plus do the action, it will all become reality.
I love that. That's really, really beautiful. Love that. And I'm going to share one by Mahatma Gandhi here. He says, learn as if you will live forever. Live like you will die tomorrow. And that's the thing. We never know, right? Never know when our last day will be here on the planet. In fact, my dad said to me the other day, he's 86, and he said, all our friends have been dying off, and he says to me, he's 86. He said, my mind is as active as when I was 20 years of age. He said, I'm just living in an 86-year-old body, and that's the thing.
Yes.
That's how quick it goes. So, to live an inspired life, to inspire yourself, to inspire others, what does that look like for you? It's a great question to ponder. Who inspires you, and why do they inspire you? And when was the last time you inspired yourself? And did you acknowledge yourself for when you inspired yourself? And actually, just in that acknowledgement, you may well be inspiring yourself. So one thing I do before I go to bed is I think of my achievements for the day. Okay, what am I grateful for today that I've done today? And they could be the smallest things. It could be connecting with someone here, or sending this email, or whatever it is, right? Just acknowledge yourself, because particularly if you're a high achieving business person like Christine and I both are, we're out there gung ho, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you're an entrepreneur, there's always going to be more you can do, and you're always going to get to the end of the day and you think, oh my gosh, yeah, there's always going to be more to do. However, you know, if you can get to the point where you go, okay, I'm grateful that I've got this done today, and whatever I didn't get done, it can wait, or whatever, you know, being able to juggle the tasks of the day, and you know, to also give yourself some grace, and to allow yourself to have some pure you time to connect to nature, to ground yourself, to have that self-love, that care is so important on this entrepreneurial journey. So I invite you really to practice that. And as you said, Christine, you know, be aware of when you have, you know, shame or guilt, and let that go, to forgive yourself, to be gracious with yourself, because often we can be very hard on ourselves, right?
Yes,
we can be incredibly hard on ourselves. So hop along there. What are some other ways we can support you, Christine?
Look, honestly, the best way is that if you are a business owner out there and you want to be able to help make the awards like come to life, we've got table sponsors where you get 2 tickets to the event. You know, come along and support everybody else in the room. You know, actually be there on the night and be inspired, hear the stories and actually be inspired. So they are some incredible ways that you can, you know, be there. And that will also help us create the next year's awards and continue with creating this movement that we want to do.
Yeah, beautiful. Love that. Hey, Regen Ray, good to see you there. Jill Smith has just joined us. Hello. We've got Lux Shampoo there. Hello on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, wherever you're joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today. For those who want to connect with me, you can go to linktr.ee/Aldwyn. That has all my links. We have our brand new event that we've just launched. We're doing an in-person event on the Gold Coast, which is called Propel Your Profile. Brand new event next Saturday, 2nd of November at Club Helensvale. So check out the details there. You'll find them in my linktree/Aldwyn. Also subscribe to Media Queen TV, or Aldwyn Altuney Media Queen TV. You'll see some amazing content in there, and you can check out the other interview I did with Christine Innes actually in there too. That was also amazing, and many others in there. Check that out as well. And we have the Global Good News Challenge every month as well, where you can get into gratitude and good news, and that is free, and it's free marketing, and you will feel amazing when you share gratitude through the Global Good News Challenge, and you'll be inspiring others as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, Christine. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. All the best with the Inspire Awards. It sounds like it's going to be amazing. So for the chance to get in on that, guys, make sure you hop over to the link that we shared earlier. I'll pop it up very quickly again here, thecorporateescapists.com/the-inspire-awards. And let us know, those who've joined us too, what did you get out of the show? What are you grateful for today? And who inspires you? Who inspires you? Love to hear from you in the comments. Sending you much love today, and here's to being the change that you wish to see in the world, as Gandhi says. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Much love. We'll see you again next time on Media Queen TV. Thank you so much, Christine. Bye for now.